What if the worst moment of your life became the doorway to everything you never knew you deserved? This is the story of Emma Rodriguez, a 29-year-old librarian who believed she was too broken for lasting love, and Marcus Thompson, a 34-year-old widowed architect convinced that happiness was a one-time gift. Their journey begins with mud, humiliation, and a choice that changed three lives forever. Portland's Bluebird Cafe glowed against the October evening, warm light spilling through rain-streaked windows onto gleaming sidewalks. The autumn storm had finally passed, leaving the air crisp with possibility. Marcus Thompson checked his watch, 7:15 p.m. His fingers drummed against a menu he'd memorized without absorbing, chest tightening with each passing minute. The corner table felt like a spotlight, exposing him as exactly what he was, a 34-year-old man who hadn't dated in 3 years, sitting alone, wondering if he'd been stood up. His reflection stared back from the glass. Brown hair his 7-year-old daughter Sophia had helped him comb. Green eyes still carrying shadows she was too young to understand. The same eyes that had watched his wife Jennifer slip away during what should have been their son's birth 3 years ago. Movement outside caught his attention. A young woman stood beyond the cafe entrance, perfectly motionless except for trembling hands. She wasn't approaching, just standing there, completely covered in mud. Thick, reddish construction clay caked her blonde hair in dark strands, splattered across what had once been a burgundy dress, coating her arms and streaking her face. Behind her, teenagers held up phones, their cruel laughter carrying as they filmed her humiliation. Their eyes met through the glass. She began waving, not casually, but desperately. Her other hand pressed against her chest as she mouthed, "I'm so sorry." For a heartbeat, Marcus stared. This woman looked like she'd been through battle, not with weapons, but with the simple act of existing in a world designed to humiliate the vulnerable. A battle he knew intimately. Every instinct screamed retreat, but something in her eyes stopped him. Raw vulnerability that recognized itself in him. The look of someone who'd learned life could destroy without warning. Without thinking, he stood and walked toward the door. "Marcus," the word emerged fragile as glass when he stepped outside. Tears filled her brown eyes instantly. "I'm so sorry. I was right there." She pointed toward construction 50 feet away with a shaking hand. "I could see the entrance, but I was so nervous I wasn't watching where I walked." Her breath hitched, and Marcus noticed how she favored her left ankle. Enormous puddle from the rain mixed with construction clay. I completely face-planted, like slapstick comedy. Her voice cracked. "Those kids filmed everything. They're probably posting it online." She held up a mud-caked phone, dead as her dignity. "Couldn't call Maya for your number. Couldn't text. I couldn't leave you wondering. But I couldn't walk into that beautiful restaurant looking like this." She gestured at herself, and Marcus saw every layer of humiliation. Physical embarrassment, yes, but deeper shame confirming every terrible thing she'd believed about herself. "I understand if you want to leave. This is probably the worst first impression in dating history." "Stop!" The word came gentler than he'd spoken to anyone except Sophia in years. Emma looked up, confusion replacing shame. He studied her. This woman brave enough to show up despite complete humiliation. Who'd stood outside waving rather than disappearing? Who was here, muddy and in pain, still trying to protect his feelings? When had anyone last put his comfort before their pride? Without hesitation, he stepped forward and took her muddy hand. "Come with me." "What? Where?" "Stella's Boutique, 2 blocks down. My sister Jessica shops there. They have a powder room. Let's get you cleaned up." Emma stood frozen. "You want to continue the date? After seeing this?" Marcus smiled genuinely for the first time in months. "Accidents happen. Besides, if you had courage to show up like this instead of disappearing, Least I can do is help you get cleaned up. The walk to Stella's was quiet except for Emma's winces and uneven footsteps. Marcus matched her pace, hands still holding hers despite transferring mud. Simple human contact felt precious after 3 years of isolation. I can't believe you're not running, Emma whispered. Why would I run? Because I'm a mess, literally and figuratively. Marcus glanced at her profile, seeing past mud to something familiar. Everyone's a mess sometimes. At least you're honest about it. Stella's boutique glowed warmly as they approached. The 60-something owner took one look at Emma and immediately ushered them inside. Oh, honey, what happened? Marcus explained quickly. Stella didn't flinch. Bathrooms in back. Take your time, dear. I can't afford, Emma started. Don't worry about it, Marcus interrupted gently. Can we find her something to wear? Something simple. Marcus, you can't buy me clothes. Consider it an investment in what I hope will be a wonderful evening. 25 minutes later, Emma studied herself in Stella's mirror. Mud gone, hair clean, wearing a simple navy dress that fit perfectly. Her reflection showed wonder beneath the embarrassment. This stranger had witnessed her absolute worst and responded with kindness without agenda. She dated men irritated by 5-minute delays who wanted her polished and convenient. Here was someone who'd seen her literally fall apart and bought her a dress. Through the door, she heard Marcus discussing architecture with Stella, his laugh genuine and unguarded. When she emerged, Marcus was examining a photograph. Stella explained how he designed her renovation. Marcus designed the whole expansion. Those skylights transformed the space. Marcus turned as Emma approached. His smile widened, reaching his eyes fully. Much better. Though you handled that situation with more grace than most people would. Falling face first into mud is the opposite of graceful. I meant after. You could have just left. Most people would. They thanked Stella and walked back through Portland's evening. Emma still limped. Marcus offered his arm without comment. The construction puddle remained treacherous, but walking beside Marcus, it felt less like humiliation and more like a story's beginning. The Bluebird Cafe felt intimate when they returned. Their table waited, and within minutes they sat with menus creating careful space. Emma fidgeted with her napkin. Maya tells me you have a daughter. Marcus transformed instantly, shoulders relaxing, eyes lighting with transcendent love. Sophia, 7 years old, going on 17, smart as a whip and convinced she knows more about life than I do. Emma laughed genuinely. Sounds like she might be right. She gave me a pep talk before tonight. Marcus showed his phone, a beaming little girl with his hair and green eyes attempting a magic trick with scattered cards. She said I needed to stop being scared of feelings. Wise girl, she gets that from her mother. The way Marcus said his next words, past tense, gentle, weighted with familiar grief, made Emma's chest constrict. She got it from her mother. Emma's hand moved instinctively across the table, covering his. I'm sorry. Thank you. Jennifer died 3 years ago. Complications during our son's birth. We lost them both. The words settled between them, heavy with profound loss. It was sudden. Normal pregnancy, no complications. Then in 6 hours, everything stopped. Sophia was 4. She barely remembers her mom now, which breaks my heart. But she's why I get up every morning, why I'm here tonight. She encouraged you to date? For months. She's very concerned about my social life. Keeps saying Daddy needs a friend who's not Aunt Jessica. Emma laughed softly, edged with understanding. That must be terrifying. Dating again. Terrifying. I keep wondering if I'm betraying Jennifer's memory, if I'm being selfish, if I'm ready, if Sophia's ready. Jessica practically dragged me here. And yet here you are. Here I am. Their eyes met, and something passed between them. Recognition, understanding. knowledge that they both carried invisible weights. What about you? Jessica mentioned you work at the children's library. Emma's face brightened like sunrise. I do. I run reading programs for kids 5 to 12, story times, literacy challenges, summer camps. It's my favorite thing in the world. Tell me about it. Emma talked about shy children discovering book love through her programs, struggling readers, finding stories that spoke their language, the magic of watching a child connect with a character. There's this boy, Miguel, 8 years old, hated reading when he started our program. His parents were terrified he was falling behind. But I found this graphic novel series about dragons. Now he reads 3 books a week. Marcus watched her speak, passion animating her features, hands moving as she described nurturing young minds, genuine joy transforming her being. You love what you do. I really do. Kids are honest. They don't pretend feelings they don't have. They show you exactly who they are and what they need. Adults could learn from that. Conversation flowed naturally after that. Hours passed unnoticed as the restaurant emptied. They discussed Marcus's architectural firm, homes designed to create safety rather than mere shelter. Emma shared growing up in small-town Oregon, losing her father to cancer at 16, understanding grief most her age never learn. Is that why you work with kids? Marcus asked gently. Emma paused thoughtfully. Maybe. I know what it's like needing someone to really show up, not just going through motions. I want to be that person for them. By midnight, they stood outside the cafe, neither ready for evening's end. I know tonight didn't start as planned, Marcus said, but I'm glad you waved through that window instead of disappearing. Me too, though I'm definitely wearing sneakers on our second date. Marcus's expression shifted, vulnerability replacing politeness, hope flickering. Second date? If you're interested, after seeing me at my absolute worst. I'm very interested. They stood in Portland's gentle night, 2 people who'd learned life could break you, beginning to believe it might heal you in ways more beautiful than imagined. Emma hailed a taxi. As headlights cut through darkness, she turned for one last look. Good night, Marcus. Good night, Emma. Marcus watched taillights disappear, feeling something he'd thought lost forever. Hope. Emma stared at the pregnancy test in her apartment bathroom at 6:30 a.m. 2 pink lines stared back, clear as dawn. Impossible. For years, doctors had said her endometriosis made pregnancy highly unlikely. Multiple specialists, same conclusion. Minimal chances. She'd made peace with that reality, channeled maternal instincts into work with children. But here was evidence contradicting everything she'd believed about her body, her future. Her phone buzzed. Marcus, texting about dinner plans with Sophia tonight, the carefully planned meeting they'd been building toward for weeks. Looking forward to tonight. Sophia's been practicing magic tricks all week. She's excited to meet you. Emma sank onto cold tile, pregnancy test trembling in her hands. 6 weeks since that muddy night. 6 weeks of careful coffee dates and long phone calls, exploring whether this connection was real. And now this. She thought of her father, who'd fought cancer 18 months before losing, how her mother remarried and moved to Phoenix, leaving Emma feeling abandoned when she needed family most, how her last relationship ended when David called her too needy, too damaged. What if Marcus thinks I'm trapping him? What if this scares him away? But beneath fear, something else bloomed. Wonder, joy, the impossible gift of life when she believed that door was closed. Her phone rang. Marcus. Hey, I know we're meeting at 6, but would you mind coming early? Sophia's nervous, and extra time might help everyone adjust. Of course, Emma managed, voice steadier than she felt. I'll be there at 5. Emma, you sound strange. Everything okay? She closed her eyes, pregnancy test warm in her palm. Just thinking about tonight, I want her to like me. She's going to love you. Just be yourself. Marcus's house reflected his architectural understanding that homes should be sanctuaries. Clean lines, warm wood, windows inviting natural light. But real warmth came from Sophia everywhere. Drawings on the refrigerator, magic supplies scattered across tables, photos chronicling a child growing up in loving arms. Emma studied a family photo on the mantelpiece. Marcus, a beautiful blonde woman with kind eyes, and baby Sophia. Jennifer had a radiant smile suggesting she'd made everyone feel welcome. "That was our last photo as a complete family," Marcus said behind her, holding water glasses. Sophia was 8 months old. She was beautiful. She looks like someone who laughed often. Every day, Jennifer believed laughter was a form of prayer. She would have liked you. She believed in showing up for people, especially when things got complicated. The front door burst open with 7-year-old drama. "Daddy, is she here? Is Emma here?" Sophia's voice carried pure excitement as she bounded into the living room, backpack still on, cheeks flushed from running. "Sophia, remember what we discussed? Indoor voice, polite greetings?" But Sophia had spotted Emma, studying her with intense child focus that sees through pretense. "You're even prettier than in Daddy's pictures." "Sophia," Marcus groaned, but Emma laughed. "Thank you. And you're more beautiful than your pictures. Your dad talks about you constantly." "He does? What does he say?" "That you're the smartest person he knows, that you do amazing magic tricks, that you have the best laugh in the world." "I do have a really good laugh. Want to see my magic tricks?" I've been practicing for weeks. But as Sophia dug for supplies, Emma caught something in the child's eyes. Calculation, testing. This wasn't just excitement. This was evaluation. For an hour, Emma watched Sophia's complete repertoire. Card tricks with more drama than skill. Coin tricks barely hiding the coin. A spectacular disappearing napkin trick involving shoving the napkin under sofa cushions while making elaborate gestures. Between tricks, Sophia deployed careful tests. She accidentally knocked over Emma's water, watching intently for reactions. When Emma simply helped clean up and suggested doing the next trick somewhere safer, Sophia looked surprised. Then came brutal childhood honesty. "Are you going to try to replace my first mommy?" The room went silent. Marcus started intervening, but Emma held up a gentle hand. "No, sweetheart. No one could replace your first mommy. She'll always be your mommy, the one who loved you first and gave you life. If I'm lucky enough to be part of your family someday, it would be as someone extra, someone who loves you and your daddy because you're both amazing." Sophia considered this with judge-like gravity. "Like how I love both my stuffed elephant and my stuffed bear. I don't love the elephant less because I also love the bear." "Exactly like that. Love doesn't get smaller when we share it. It gets bigger." "Okay, want to see my room? I have a really good magic trick set up there." Sophia's room was 7-year-old paradise. Books stacked everywhere, stuffed animals in complex social hierarchy, artwork covering every wall. But what caught Emma's attention was the nightstand photo. Jennifer holding baby Sophia, both radiant with uncomplicated joy. "That's my first mommy. She died when I was little, so I don't remember much. But Daddy tells stories, so it's like knowing her anyway." Emma's heart clenched. "She looks like she loved you more than anything. Daddy says she watches over me from heaven. Do you think that's true?" Emma looked at this brave girl who lost so much so young. "I think people who love us that much never really leave. They live in our hearts and in all the good things they taught us." Sophia nodded solemnly. "Like how she taught Daddy to make pancakes in fun shapes." "Exactly like that." Over pizza dinner, Sophia's specific request because Fancy food is for fancy people, and we're regular people. Sophia regaled them with school stories, demonstrated more magic tricks, and asked rapid-fire questions revealing sharp intelligence. Do you like scary movies? Because Daddy hates them, but I love them. Do you know how to braid hair? Are you going to sleep over? Because I want to know if you snore because Mrs. Peterson next door snores really loud. I don't really like scary movies, Emma admitted, but I love braiding hair, and I promise I don't snore very loud. As evening wound down and Marcus began Sophia's bedtime routine, Emma found herself in the kitchen loading the dishwasher, marveling at how natural this felt. Not forced or performed, but genuinely comfortable. When Marcus returned from tucking Sophia in, he found Emma finishing dishes with thoughtful expression. Verdict? He asked. She's incredible, smart, funny, brave. She's going to be an amazing woman. She likes you. I can tell. Sophia doesn't share magic tricks with just anyone. Emma dried her hands, gathering courage. Marcus, there's something I need to tell you. Something in her tone focused his complete attention. What is it? I'm pregnant. The words hung in evening air, changing everything. Marcus stared, processing impossible information. Pregnant. We're, I know it's fast. I know we've only been together 6 weeks. I know this complicates everything. Words tumbled out in flood. Doctors always said it was highly unlikely because of my endometriosis. But apparently unlikely doesn't mean impossible. And I understand if you need time or if this is too much. Emma. Marcus's hands cupped her face gently, thumbs brushing away tears she hadn't realized were falling. Are you happy about it? The unexpected question made her breath catch. Yes. Terrified, but yes. Are you? Marcus's smile was sunrise after the longest night. I'm terrified too, and completely, impossibly happy. He kissed her then, soft and sure, and Emma felt something settle that had been restless her entire life. When they broke apart, Marcus rested his forehead against hers. Sophia's going to lose her mind with excitement. She's been asking for a sibling since she learned what siblings were. You think she'll really be okay with this? I think she'll be planning the nursery by morning. I love you, Emma whispered, words feeling terrifying and inevitable. I love you too. All of you. All of this. Our perfectly imperfect family. But even holding each other in gentle lamplight, Emma couldn't silence the voice whispering that things this good didn't last. That happiness this complete was borrowed time. She was about to discover how wrong she was. The call came Tuesday afternoon while Emma led story time at the library. Maya appeared at the children's section back, phone in hand, eyes bright with urgent excitement. Emma wrapped up the very hungry caterpillar efficiently, settled kids with coloring books, and stepped aside. Emma Rodriguez. The voice was professional, kind. This is Sarah Chen from Oregon Family Services. I have news about your adoption application. Emma's heart stopped. She and Marcus had submitted paperwork 2 months ago, a decision born from late-night conversations about building family intentionally, giving children who needed homes the love they had to offer. We have an urgent placement situation. 2 siblings, Miguel and Rosa Santos, ages 8 and 6. They need immediate foster-to-adopt placement, and you and Mr. Thompson are our best match. Emma's hands shook, gripping the phone. How immediate? Today, if possible. Their current placement fell through unexpectedly, and they're currently at our offices. I know this is short notice. We'll be there in an hour, Emma said without hesitation. She called Marcus from the parking lot, voice tight with excitement and terror. The adoption call came. 2 kids need placement today. Miguel and Rosa, 8 and 6. Marcus, we could be parents to 4 children by tonight. Silence stretched 3 heartbeats. Then, I'm leaving work now. Meet me at Family Services. Miguel Santos sat in the Family Services waiting room corner, arm protectively around little sister Rosa. Both wore clean clothes that were clearly not their own. Telltale signs of kids moved quickly between placements. Emma's heart broke watching them. Miguel's dark eyes held wariness, far too mature. Someone who'd learned adults couldn't always be trusted to stay. Rosa clutched a worn stuffed unicorn, thumb in her mouth despite being 6. Their parents died in a car accident 8 months ago, Sarah explained quietly. They've been in 3 different foster homes since then. Miguel is very protective of his sister, and Rosa hasn't spoken much since the accident. They need stability, patience, and a family willing to understand that healing takes time. Marcus knelt before the children, voice gentle. Hi, Miguel. Hi, Rosa. I'm Marcus, and this is Emma. We heard you might need a place to stay. Miguel's arm tightened around Rosa. Are you going to send us away too? The question hit Emma like physical blow. No, sweetheart. We want to give you a safe place for as long as you need it. Forever, Rosa whispered, first word since they'd arrived. If you want forever, Emma said softly. We have a little girl at home named Sophia. She's 7 and she's been hoping for a brother and sister. And in about 5 months, we're going to have a baby. Miguel studied them with ancient eyes. What if we're too much trouble? What if we break something or get scared at night or don't like the food you make? Marcus's voice was steady, sure. Then we'll fix what's broken, help you feel safe, and figure out food you do like. That's what families do. Something in Miguel's expression shifted. Not quite trust, but maybe hope's beginning. Paperwork took 2 more hours. Emergency placement, background checks, orientation meetings. As sunset painted Portland, Emma and Marcus drove home with 2 traumatized children in their back seat. Lives fundamentally changed in an afternoon span. Sophia's going to be surprised, Marcus said, pulling into their driveway. That's an understatement, Emma replied, one hand on her visible pregnancy bump, the other reaching back to squeeze Rosa's small fingers. The front door opened before they reached it. Jessica stood there with Sophia, who took one look at the children behind Emma and Marcus and immediately understood everything was different. Are these my new brother and sister? Sophia asked with childhood directness. Miguel stepped protectively before Rosa. We're not anybody's brother and sister yet. We're just staying here. Okay, Sophia said with 7-year-old logic. Do you want to see my magic tricks? I have really good ones. And somehow, in a question about magic tricks, Miguel's walls began cracking. Emma stood in the kitchen making breakfast for 5, a reality that still sometimes caught her off guard. Sophia was teaching Rosa proper toast buttering technique. Miguel sat reading about dragons, occasionally glancing up to ensure Rosa remained safe and happy. Marcus appeared in work clothes, hair damp from his shower. The sight never failed to make Emma's chest tight with gratitude. How are we this morning? He asked, dropping a kiss on Emma's temple before ruffling Miguel's hair, a gesture that had taken weeks to be accepted without flinching. Rosa lost another tooth, Sophia announced importantly. The tooth fairy's going to be very busy at our house. Did she put it under her pillow? Marcus asked seriously. Under her pillow with a note, Miguel added. Rosa writes letters to the tooth fairy now. She wants to know if the tooth fairy is friends with Santa Claus. Emma watched this exchange with wonder. These children who'd arrived scared and guarded had slowly begun blooming under consistent love and patience. Miguel had stopped hoarding food. Rosa had started speaking in full sentences. Sophia had appointed herself big sister to everyone, but challenges remained. Miguel still woke screaming some nights, convinced they were being sent away. Rosa regressed whenever unexpected changes occurred. All 3 kids were still learning to trust that this family was permanent, which made this morning's conversation even more crucial. Kids, Emma said, settling onto a kitchen stool with difficulty, her pregnancy becoming harder to ignore. Marcus and I need to talk to you about something important. 3 faces turned with varying concern. Emma had learned that, "We need to talk" could trigger panic in children who'd lost too much. "Good important or scary important?" Sophia asked. "Good important," Marcus said quickly. "Very good important." Emma took a deep breath. "You know how we've been talking about making our family official? About adoption and how that means we choose each other forever?" Miguel nodded slowly. Rosa climbed into Marcus's lap, seeking physical comfort. "We want to adopt all three of you officially," Emma continued. "Sophia, Miguel, and Rosa. We want to legally be a family, with the same last name and everything." The kitchen went silent. Then Rosa whispered, "Really forever? Even if we're sad sometimes or have bad dreams?" "Especially then," Marcus said, voice thick with emotion. "Forever means forever, through good days and hard days and everything in between." Miguel looked suspicious. "What's the catch? Adults always have catches." Emma's heart broke a little more. "No catch, sweetheart. Just a promise that we choose you, and we hope you choose us." Sophia whooped with joy, immediately planning celebration. Rosa buried her face in Marcus's neck, small body shaking with what might have been tears or relief. And Miguel, serious 8-year-old Miguel, who'd carried the weight of protecting his sister for months, looked directly at Emma and said, "Can I call you Mom now?" Emma burst into tears right there at the kitchen counter, overwhelmed by the question's simple perfection. "I would love that more than anything," she managed. The courthouse ceremony was everything they'd wanted: simple, meaningful, focused on choice rather than ceremony. Emma, visibly pregnant at 7 months, wore a simple white dress. Marcus wore his best suit. All three children had matching flower arrangements they'd helped choose at the farmer's market. Sophia took her maid of honor role seriously, holding rings and whispering stage directions to Miguel and Rosa throughout the brief ceremony. Miguel, wearing his first real suit, stood proud as Marcus's best man. Rosa, in a pink dress that made her feel like a princess, scattered petals with artistic precision. Judge Patricia Williams smiled at this unconventional family. "Marcus and Emma, you've written your own vows, which is fitting for a family that's written its own story." Marcus went first, voice steady despite threatening emotion. "Emma, you showed up in my life covered in mud and changed everything. You taught me that families aren't born, they're chosen. You chose me, you chose Sophia, you chose Miguel and Rosa when they needed choosing most. You showed me that love multiplies rather than divides, and that there's room in our hearts for everyone who needs a place. I promise to keep choosing you, all of you, every single day." Emma's voice shook but rang clear. "Marcus, you held out your hand when I was at my lowest and showed me what real kindness looks like. You, Sophia, Miguel, and Rosa taught me what home really means. It's not a place. It's a choice to show up for each other, especially when things get complicated. I promise to keep showing up, to love all of you through ordinary Tuesdays and extraordinary adventures, to help build a family where everyone feels safe to be exactly who they are." When they kissed, all three children cheered loud enough to echo through marble courthouse halls. Afterward, they went to their favorite diner for wedding cake, a tower of chocolate chip pancakes with candles, because that's what the kids requested. "This is the best wedding ever," Rosa announced, syrup on her chin and joy radiating from every pore. "When's the baby coming again?" Miguel asked, eyeing Emma's bump with protective interest. 6 more weeks, Emma said, one hand resting on her belly. "I've been practicing teaching magic tricks to babies," Sophia announced. "Just simple ones, because their hands are really small." As they sat in their favorite booth, Emma looked around at their perfectly imperfect family and felt completeness she'd never imagined possible. That evening, as they settled into post-wedding routine of homework and bedtime stories, Emma felt the baby kick strongly. She guided Marcus's hand to the spot, and he smiled with wonder that still felt new. "Active tonight," he murmured. "They know something special happened today," Emma said. All three kids crowded around, placing hands on Emma's belly in their family tradition. "Hi, baby," Rosa whispered. "Today, Mom and Dad got married, so now we're super official. I can't wait to teach you how to color inside the lines." "And how to read really good books," Miguel added seriously. "And magic tricks," Sophia chimed in. "Obviously magic tricks." The baby kicked again, stronger this time, as if responding to their voices. Emma looked around at this moment, her husband's hand on her belly, her children talking earnestly to their unborn sibling, evening light casting everything in golden warmth, and realized this was what she'd been searching for her entire life without knowing it. Not perfection, not the absence of complications or pain or uncertainty, but presence. Showing up, choosing each other daily. Love that didn't require her to be anything other than exactly who she was, mud-covered disasters and all. David Marcus Thompson arrived on a Tuesday evening while Emma was helping Miguel with math homework. He came into the world surrounded by the same love that had welcomed Emma, Miguel, and Rosa into this chosen family. Sophia held him first in the hospital, Marcus's arms around all his children, Emma watching from her bed with a heart so full it felt like it might burst. "He's so tiny," Rosa whispered in awe, gently touching the baby's impossibly small hand. "But perfect," Miguel added, voice soft with wonder. "Hi, David. I'm your big brother, and I've been waiting to meet you." Sophia, now a veteran big sister, gave David complete attention. "I'm going to teach you everything important. Magic tricks in reading and how to make the perfect peanut butter sandwich. We're going to be best friends." The baby opened his green eyes, Marcus's eyes, at the sound of her voice, seeming to focus on her face with newborn intensity. "He already knows us," Sophia breathed. "We're really a family now." Later that night, when the other children had gone home with Jessica and David was sleeping peacefully in his hospital bassinet, Emma and Marcus sat together in the quiet room. "I keep thinking about that night," Emma said softly, "standing outside the cafe covered in mud, convinced I was going to ruin everything." "Best disaster of my life," Marcus said, bringing her hand to his lips. "Though I still keep extra clothes in the car." Emma laughed quietly, careful not to wake their son. "I love you, Marcus Thompson." "I love you too." "Emma Thompson, all of you, all of us." And in room 304's gentle darkness, surrounded by quiet monitor beeping and their baby's soft breathing, Emma finally understood what forever felt like. Not a promise, but a daily choice. Not perfection, but presence. Not the absence of mess, but commitment to clean it up together. Their love story hadn't been instant or simple. It had been earned through patience, through showing up when life got complicated, through choosing each other again and again. Emma had appeared covered in mud and vulnerable, and Marcus had extended his hand. They'd shown up for each other through postponed dates and midnight conversations and the slow work of blending hearts and histories. They'd shown up for Sophia, Miguel, and Rosa, creating space for grief and joy to coexist, teaching them that families are built on choice rather than biology. And now, with their son sleeping peacefully beside them and their other children dreaming of adventures they'd share, they were showing up for their future, a future built on ordinary Tuesdays and extraordinary love, on the revolutionary understanding that the best families are the ones we choose, day after day after day. Emma had fallen into a mud puddle and found everything she'd never known she was looking for. And Marcus had learned that sometimes the most beautiful things in life are covered in mud, waving at you through a window, asking for nothing more than the chance to be seen, to be chosen, to be loved exactly as they are. In room 314, as Portland settled into sleep around them, the Thompson family began their next chapter, muddy and perfect and absolutely worth choosing.